The air was thick with the scent of blooming jasmine, intertwining with the cool breeze that swept through the trees. This was their refuge, a space that held the laughter of their youth, the tears of loss, and now, a growing tension neither could articulate. It had been a few months since they had crossed an invisible line, yet the echoes of that moment lingered. The day had started like any other. She and her brother, Sam, had spent the morning reminiscing, flipping through old photo albums that shimmered with memories of summer days filled with mischief and laughter. But as they lingered over a particular photograph, one that captured a fleeting moment of shared joy, a shift occurred. The air thickened, the laughter faded, and a deeper understanding flickered between them. Eliza recalled that moment vividly, the way their eyes locked, and the world around them seemed to blur into insignificance. It was electric. In that split second, they had both felt the weight of their connection, an awareness that transcended their playful banter and ventured into the territory of longing. They had both chosen to ignore it until now, but the undeniable pull toward each other had woven itself into the fabric of their every interaction since. "Do you ever think about how different things could have been?" Sam's voice broke the silence, gently pulling Eliza from her thoughts. She turned her head to see him leaning against the porch railing, his silhouette outlined against the dying light. The vulnerability in his tone struck a chord within her. "Different how?" Eliza replied cautiously, knowing full well the myriad of implications behind his words. "Us. Our lives. Our choices," he said, shifting his gaze to the horizon, where the last rays of sunshine painted the sky with hues of orange and pink. It was a question that hung in the air, heavy with possibility and fear. Eliza's heart raced. She had played out 100 conversations in her mind, yet every scenario faltered when faced with the reality of their situation. "Sometimes," she admitted, her voice barely above a whisper. "But it scares me to think about it." "Why?" He turned to look at her, his eyes searching hers for clarity, for reassurance. "Because," she hesitated, the weight of her truth pressing down on her. "Because there's something between us that feels so right and so wrong at the same time." The honesty in her words hung between them, tangible and real, as they both navigated the labyrinth of their emotions. Sam stepped closer, closing the physical distance between them. Eliza felt the heat radiating from him, a warmth that stirred something deep within her. The way he looked at her, intense, insistent, carved a path through her defenses. "I know," Sam replied, his voice steady, revealing the depth of his understanding. "I feel it too. I've felt it for a long time." The admission slipped from his lips, raw and unfiltered. A cathartic release, shattering the delicate barriers they had built around their hearts. "What do we do with that?" Eliza asked, her voice trembling with uncertainty. She met his gaze, allowing the vulnerability to surface. This was no longer the playful banter of siblings. This was something deeper, something that could change everything. "I don't know," he admitted, his frown deepening. "But I can't pretend it doesn't exist. Not anymore." His words hung between them, laced with a blend of fear and exhilaration that coursed through her veins. As they stood there, time slowed, and the world around them faded. The cicadas sang their evening chorus, wrapping them in a cocoon of intimacy that felt both exhilarating and terrifying. In that moment, they chose to confront the unspoken bond that thrummed between them, a connection that had the potential to redefine the very essence of their relationship. "Sam," she began, her heart racing, "if we go down this path, things won't be the same. We could lose everything." The weight of her words pressed heavily against her chest. "I know, but maybe it's worth the risk," he replied, taking a step closer, his voice a low whisper that resonated with longing. "Maybe we can create something beautiful from this." Eliza felt her breath catch in her throat. This was a precipice, an edge where love and sibling had met. She yearned for the connection, yet feared the consequences. "What if we hurt each other?" she asked, vulnerability creasing her brow. "Then we'll figure it out. Together," he said, extending his hand, a gesture filled with promise. It was an invitation to embrace the uncertainty, to take a leap into the unknown. For a heartbeat, Eliza hesitated, torn between fear and desire. But the depth of their connection surged within her, a potent reminder of the bond they had shared throughout their lives. It was a bond rooted in understanding, trust, and now, something undeniably profound. With shaky hands, she reached out, intertwining her fingers with his. In that moment, an electric spark ignited between them. It felt like both a beginning and an end, an acknowledgement of all they had been and all they could become. They stood there on the porch, in the delicate twilight, breathing in the gravity of their choice. Eliza took a step closer, allowing the unfiltered emotions to wash over her. The intimacy they craved was not purely physical. It was the emotional tether that pulled them closer, that asked for honesty and openness, that required them to navigate the labyrinth of their intertwined hearts. "I want to explore this," she murmured, her voice now steady with determination. "Me too," Sam replied, his eyes alight with something akin to hope. "But let's take it slow. We owe it to ourselves to be mindful." And so, as night enveloped the world around them, they took their first steps forward into the unknown. Their journey would be paved with challenges and revelations, but together, they felt ready to embrace whatever lay ahead. As the weeks unfolded, Eliza and Sam entered a new phase of their relationship, fraught with tension yet sparkling with the promise of discovery. They spent their days navigating the delicate balance between familial love and burgeoning desire, finding solace in stolen glances, lingering touches, and whispered confessions. The late evenings often found them on the porch swing, as twilight descended, cocooning them in a world only they could access. These moments were precious, filled with laughter and deep conversations that roamed from light-hearted memories to profound discussions about their hopes and dreams. But there was also a shared acknowledgement of uncharted territory, the line they had crossed and the fears that lay beneath the surface. Each time their fingers brushed or their laughter echoed through the air, they felt the weight of what it meant to redefine their bond. It was both thrilling and fraught with uncertainty. One evening, while the stars twinkled like diamonds above, Sam turned to her, his expression serious yet inviting. "Can we talk about what this means for us?" he asked, breaking the comfortable silence. "Of course," Eliza replied, her heart beating a little faster. "I think we need to be honest about our feelings," he continued. "I care about you, and I want to explore this intimacy. But I also don't want to lose you if things go wrong." "Same here," she responded, biting her lip as she considered her next words. "I love you, Sam. But that love is complicated now. There are risks, and the stakes feel higher." Sam nodded, understanding the weight of her words. "Let's promise to communicate, even when it's difficult. No matter what happens, we should always feel safe to express how we're feeling." With a shared commitment to openness, they began the delicate dance of exploration. It became a ritual for them to check in regularly, whether during quiet evenings or spontaneous adventures, using these moments to nurture both their emotions and their growing connection. One night, the conversation turned to the nature of intimacy, how it encompassed more than just the physical. "Emotional intimacy requires vulnerability," Eliza said, sitting cross-legged on the swing as Sam watched her intently. "Like revealing our fears and insecurities?" he asked, genuinely curious. "Exactly. It's about showing each other our true selves, the parts we often keep hidden," she explained, her heart racing at the thought of unlocking deeper layers between them. "I'm ready for that," he replied, his gaze unwavering. "I want to know you, all of you." As the days turned into weeks, they shared their dreams, both the light-hearted and the serious, their fears about the future, their ambitions, and their cherished memories. Eliza found solace in Sam's unwavering support and felt the heaviness of her heart lighten as she revealed her innermost thoughts. Yet, as their bond deepened, so too did the challenge of navigating the complexities of their relationship. There were moments filled with longing, where the air crackled with unexpressed desire. They found themselves stealing glances that lingered too long, aware of the simmering tension beneath the surface. One evening, while watching the stars dance above, the weight of their unspoken desires became too much to bear. Sam turned toward her, and in that moment, vulnerability washed over him. "Eliza, I want to kiss you," he confessed, his voice trembling with honesty. The words hung in the air, a potent declaration that sent her heart racing. Their connectedness was palpable, a bond forged through trust, love, and a mutual understanding that had blossomed in the twilight of their shared reflections. With a gentle nod, Eliza closed the distance between them, their hearts pounding in tandem. The world around them faded, leaving only the intimate space they had created together. As Sam leaned in, the kiss was a sweet culmination of all the emotions they had navigated, a melding of fear and desire, longing and acceptance. It wasn't just a physical act, it was a promise, a merging of two hearts exploring uncharted territory. It was the affirmation of their emotional intimacy, the acknowledgement that this bond was more profound, more meaningful, than either had anticipated. In the days that followed, they embraced this new layer of their relationship with both excitement and caution. There were still moments of uncertainty, as they learned to navigate the complexities of intimacy. Fear sometimes crept in. Questions about the future lingered at the edges of their minds. But with each shared smile, every touch, and whispered "I love you," they forged ahead, carving a path for their relationship to blossom in ways they had never imagined. They grew closer, finding strength in their ability to face each challenge together, their bond increasingly fortified by their unwavering commitment to each other. And as the nights turned into mornings, filled with laughter and love, Eliza and Sam reveled in the profound connection they had built, a connection that was theirs to explore, theirs to nurture, and theirs to cherish. In the tapestry of their lives, they wove a story of intimacy, vulnerability, and profound love, a narrative intricately tied to their journey, one that spanned beyond boundaries and ventured into the depths of their souls. And while it was impossible to predict the twists and turns that lay ahead, they faced the unknown together, armed with an understanding that their emotional intimacy would guide them through whatever challenges life had in store. This initial segment sets the stage for a story focusing on emotional intimacy and the complexities that arise as two individuals confront their feelings. As the seasons shifted and the years passed, the connection between Eliza and Sam deepened into an intricate tapestry of intimacy woven with threads of laughter, shared secrets, and growing understanding. The initial spark of that fateful night had ignited a flame that neither of them could extinguish, even as life led them down separate paths. Their college years began with an unspoken agreement, a silent acknowledgement that while they would explore romantic relationships with others, their bond would remain their sanctuary, a place of refuge where they didn't have to filter their thoughts or fears. Eliza thrived in her studies, pursuing a degree in psychology. The more she delved into human behavior and relationships, the more she understood her own emotions. Her peers saw her as confident and composed, yet in the quiet moments, she often found herself yearning for the deep connection that Sam provided. Despite having a boyfriend during her sophomore year, late-night phone calls with Sam were a staple in her life, grounding her amid the chaos of academic demands and social pressures. "Hey, you!" Sam's voice would pull her from her thoughts, and their conversations would flow effortlessly. "How's your day? Tell me everything." In those moments, she would share her triumphs and struggles, and as they talked, they felt the familiar pull toward each other, an emotional intimacy that transcended the surface of everyday concerns. For Sam, college was a whirlwind of new experiences. He dove into his major in environmental science, fueled by a desire to make a difference in the world. He dated a couple of girls, but each relationship felt hollow without the undercurrent of connection he shared with Eliza. Whenever he closed his eyes, he could almost recall the warmth of her smile, the way she understood him in a manner that no one else could. Though he was wrapped up in his academic pursuits, Sam still prioritized their late-night talks and weekend visits. Their shared conversations were riddled with laughter, yet beneath the surface lay an undeniable tension that neither wanted to acknowledge fully. Each embrace lingered a moment too long, each glance held unspoken words that danced in the air. One chilly autumn evening, Eliza decided to break the silence. They were alone on the porch swing in her family home, a cherished place where every laugh, every secret, every heartache was shared. The golden leaves cascaded around them, framing the moment in warmth. "Sam," she began, her heart racing. "Do you think we'll ever?" She hesitated, fearful of the implications of her words. "Ever what?" he prompted gently, his eyes locked onto hers with unwavering attention. "Feel like we can be more than this?" The vulnerability in her voice stretched out between them, a bridge of unacknowledged desire. his breath caught in his throat. I hope so, he confessed. I want to. But, what would that mean for us? For everything we've built? Eliza sighed, feeling the weight of the world on her shoulders. I don't know. But I feel it, Sam. Every time we're together, I feel it. His hand found hers, their fingers intertwining naturally. The simple act ignited their shared history, a warmth that spread through both their chests. Then maybe we should explore it, he said slowly, allowing the words to sink in. But we need to be open about what we want. Over the next few weeks, they embarked on a delicate dance of discovery. Hands grazed, lingering touches sparked electricity, and through it all, they remained emotionally tethered, exploring both the comfort of their friendship and the thrill of burgeoning romance. As college progressed, Sam and Eliza found themselves at a crossroad, grappling with the shifting dynamics of their relationship. They had relegated their connection to shared moments and texts, but now they were confronted with the reality of their intertwined lives and the pull of deeper intimacy. Eliza found herself falling in love with her boyfriend, Alex, who was sweet, smart, and ambitious. Still, no matter how much time she invested in the relationship, there was always a part of her that longed for Sam. The emotional safety he provided was unmatched, like a warm blanket on a cold night, inviting yet bittersweet. Can we still meet this weekend? She texted Sam, her heart racing with anticipation. Every encounter was both a joy and an aching reminder of what lay beneath the surface. Definitely. Need our usual catch-up, he replied, and with each heartbeat, she felt the familiar spark of excitement. When they met that Saturday, the tension was palpable. As they walked through the park, laughter danced between them, yet beneath it all was the unspoken awareness of their growing feelings. They sat beneath their favorite tree, legs touching as they shared stories from their lives. Then, as if in a synchronized moment, they turned to each other. Sam leaned in slightly, the world around them fading into insignificance. Lightning seemed to crackle in the air, the unsteady balance of their connection teetering on the edge. I can't ignore this anymore, Eliza, he said, his voice low and urgent. I feel like what we have is too real to just pretend it's not there. Her heart raced as she felt the weight of his words, the truth that resonated within her. But what about Alex? She asked, suddenly tethered to the reality of her choices. He deserves your honesty. You owe it to him, and to yourself, Sam replied, the intensity in his gaze unwavering. With the sun dipping low on the horizon, casting a golden hue over them, Eliza felt torn between the safety of her current relationship and the tantalizing possibilities of what could be. With shaking hands, she reached out, brushing her fingers against his cheek. Maybe I'll figure it out soon, she said, her voice barely above a whisper. But until then, I want you to know how much you mean to me. Their lips met, soft and tentative at first, an exploration that spoke volumes of love, longing, and the promise of intimacy. In that moment, it wasn't just physical, it was an unveiling of their deepest desires, their fears, and their hopes. The months that followed were fraught with choices and emotional intricacies. Eliza ultimately decided to end her relationship with Alex, realizing that while he was good for her on many levels, he could never provide the depth of understanding she shared with Sam. Breaking up was hard, yet the moment she could connect openly with Sam again felt like a breath of fresh air. They spent more time together, navigating the newfound freedom and excitement of their relationship. They explored intimacy, going beyond the emotional realm into physical closeness, finding joy in small yet sweet moments. Late-night study sessions turned into pillow fights and shared secrets whispered in the shadows. They celebrated victories, provided comfort during failures, and held hands during quiet moments under the stars, their connection deepening. But as college came to a close, both experienced the pull of new beginnings. Sam had been offered a job in another city while Eliza accepted a prestigious graduate program. The reality of their love began to weigh heavy on them as they faced the uncertainty of separation. How do we make this work? Sam asked one night, concern etched across his features. Can we really maintain what we have while being apart? Eliza felt torn. I don't want to lose what we have, but I also can't predict the future. We both deserve to explore our lives fully. With heavy hearts, they decided that their connection was worth fighting for, promising to stay in touch and prioritize regular visits. Yet, the loneliness crept in during their first weeks apart. They found comfort in video calls, laughter echoing through the digital screen, yet it only did so much to quell the longing they felt in each other's absence. "I miss you," Sam confessed during one of their late-night chats. "More than I can put into words." "I miss you too," Eliza replied, her heart aching. "But I believe we can navigate this." Years passed, and life unfolded in unexpected ways. Eliza threw herself into her studies, immersing herself in understanding human relationships and emotional intimacy, all the while keeping Sam close to her heart. They continued to share their lives, supporting each other through milestones, heartbreaks, and triumphs. Yet, life took its toll. Sam began dating Sarah, a girl he met at work. She was bright, fun, and brought new experiences into his life, but the deeper emotional connection he shared with Eliza had never dulled. He confided in her about his relationship, conscious of the boundaries they had created, but still yearning for the closeness that only she could provide. At times, Eliza felt a pang of jealousy, yet she understood the importance of allowing him to explore relationships outside their special bond. In some ways, Sarah even felt like a bridge, bringing out a different side of Sam while still giving him the space to connect with Eliza. They learned to navigate their new normal while still meeting during major life events or holidays, where they would steal moments filled with laughter and emotional intimacy. Eventually, Eliza found herself in a relationship with Mark, a kind-hearted man who appreciated her drive. Though he never fully grasped the unique bond she shared with Sam, he respected it as part of her past. For a while, Eliza felt a sense of contentment, and yet, when she held on to Mark, glimpses of the connection she felt with Sam always lingered at the back of her mind. As both of their relationships matured, Eliza and Sam gathered as friends, sharing laughter and celebrating milestones. Their emotional connection was as strong as ever, with Sam often confiding in Eliza about his relationship struggles with Sarah, discussing how he felt caught between his love for her and the evolving realities of his life. "What if we just embraced this connection?" Eliza suggested during one of their late-night discussions. "What if we just acknowledged the feelings we still have for each other?" "Do you honestly think we could maintain our current relationships if we did that?" Sam asked, his brow furrowed in contemplation. "It would change everything." Eliza pondered for a moment. "Maybe we would need to transition away from those relationships to honor what we have." Their hearts echoed the possibilities of what could be. The question lingered like the soft glow of the moonlight filtering through the trees. But both knew the stakes were high, and to cross that line could possibly dismantle the delicate fabric they had woven over the years. As time went on, life continued to pull them into different directions. While Eliza pursued her PhD and flourished in academia, Sam became an environmental consultant, passionate about the difference he was making. They each married their partners, partly content, but often found themselves returning to their cherished childhood home during the holidays, a time when their unique bond came rushing back, unrelenting. One particular evening, determined to honor their growing intimacy, they decided to take a long walk down memory lane, literally and figuratively. "Do you remember the nights we used to explore our dreams?" Sam asked, nudging her lightly as they walked side by side. Eliza nodded, nostalgia flooding over her. "It feels like a lifetime ago. We shared everything, our fears, our hopes. Things have definitely changed." "Maybe not everything has changed," he replied, glancing at her with a knowing smile. "We still have each other in a way that no one else can understand." As they strolled under the blanket of stars, crowded memories mixed with the smells of fresh pine and crisp autumn air. The weight of their shared history, both joyful and poignant, filled the space between them. That night, amid laughter and reminiscence, they dared to breach the topic they had danced around for so long, the possibility of redefining their relationship. "What if we do something radical?" Sam proposed, his eyes sparkling with mischief. "What if we take a weekend trip, just the two of us?" Eliza's breath caught in her throat. "A weekend, together? Like the old days?" "Exactly. We could really commit to our connection." His voice held a tantalizing combination of eagerness and trepidation. Her heart raced as she considered the implications. The thought of having him all to herself, of reveling in their shared intimacy without the constraints of the outside world, sent shivers down her spine. "Are we brave enough?" she whispered, the vulnerability of the idea washing over them. "I think we owe it to ourselves to find out," Sam replied, and the warmth of his promise hung in the air, drawing them closer together. And so, with open hearts and the echoes of shared laughter, they planned their weekend away. They booked a cozy cabin in the woods, a place that held memories of endless summer nights spent by the fire and conversations that stretched until dawn. On the first evening, they settled in, surrounded by the quiet rustle of nature. With the flickering light of the fireplace illuminating their faces, they reflected on their lives, each sharing their triumphs, regrets, and desires. As the warmth enveloped them, Eliza felt the tensions from her life, the rationalizations and barriers she built, begin to dissolve. "What happens when we cross this line?" she asked, her voice barely above a whisper. "Honestly? I think we unlock something we've been keeping inside for far too long," Sam replied, his hand reaching for hers. The gravity of his words pulled her in, and she felt her heart soar with hope. When their lips finally met, it was like the world ignited. A cauldron of emotions spilled over, years of unspoken words, longing, and love finally alighted into a flame that enveloped them both. The kiss was a culmination of all they had become together and what they always aspired to be. In the heart of those woods, they melted into one another, allowing their bodies to explore what had been an unnameable desire. It was both passionate and tender, an expression of the intimacy that was enriched by years of connection, laughter, and shared dreams. As the weekend unfolded, they reveled in each other's presence, exploring not only physical intimacy but also a depth of emotional connection that had always been their foundation. They talked for hours, their vulnerabilities laid bare, and Sam held Eliza close, whispering affirmations that made her heart swell with joy. It was a turning point in their lives. The connection that had long been threaded throughout their years finally found a tangible expression. The intimacy they cultivated together became the essence of who they were. Following their weekend of renewal, the road ahead was both exhilarating and daunting. Eliza and Sam had crossed the threshold into a deeper intimacy, but the world around them was now filled with complexities. They were both married, navigating outside relationships while cherishing the bond they shared. Yet, they made time for each other, thrive in moments of shared vulnerability that transcended their physical connection. They became each other's confidants, recognizing that their relationship was limitless, forged through years of tranquility and passion. They traveled together, relishing expansive weekends filled with laughter and deep discussions, often only arriving home hours before facing their families. On countless late nights, they would whisper on the phone, holding on to the threads of their intimacy amid the chaos of their lives. There were challenges. As they juggled their separate marriages and family lives, doubt occasionally seeped into their hearts. Secrets they kept weighed heavy at times, but they always found a way to navigate those shadows, leaning on each other for strength, reaffirming that their emotional intimacy provided solace. Years passed like pages in a book. Both faced heartbreak and loss. They supported each other through the tender moments when loved ones fell ill, reminding each other that their bond remained unbreakable. They learned to cherish family milestones, birthdays, holidays, and weddings, finding ways to escape into each other's arms whenever life allowed. During a particularly difficult winter, Eliza received heartbreakingly tragic news. Her mother had passed away suddenly, leaving a void in her heart that felt insurmountable. Sam showed up unannounced, standing at her door with his arms outstretched. They collapsed into one another, surrendering to the sorrow that engulfed them. Under the weight of grief, she found breathing space in Sam's embrace, where she could let her tears flow freely. Their relationship deepened again in that moment, reminding them that their bond transcended joy and pain. Eventually, life took another turn. After years of support and understanding, both Eliza and Sam found themselves at a crossroads in their separate marriages. The issues they faced began surfacing like jagged rocks on the shoreline, and they started to reevaluate what they truly wanted. One evening, as they sat on the porch swing of their childhood home, two middle-aged adults who had weathered the storms of life, the conversation shifted again to the familiar topic of their bond. "You know, sometimes I think about what could have been," Sam said quietly, the weight of his words heavy with possibility. "Me too," Eliza replied. "But I also think about all we've built. The connection we have is something I never want to lose." "But at what cost?" Sam challenged gently. "We can't continue to navigate this in the shadows forever. Life is too short for half measures, Eliza." As they sat in the twilight glow, they recognized that their intimacy had always been more than just physical. It was a reflection of their souls, a connection that was irreplaceable. The culmination of shared dreams and laughter formed the backbone of their bond. "Eliza, what if we made an impossible choice?" Sam posed thoughtfully. "What if we embraced this love openly? Lived a life that honors what we feel for each other?" Tears welled in Eliza's eyes. "The thought frightens me," she admitted. "The potential heartbreak, the risk of losing everything we know. What would happen to our kids? Our families?" "Or," he countered, "what if we discovered a new happiness, something we never allowed ourselves to truly explore because of our fears?" His words lingered like a gentle echo in her mind, lifting the veil they had walked under for so long. Once bound by taboo and secrecy, they now embraced the possibility of forging a new path forward. With tentative hearts, they decided to take the leap. It wasn't easy, nor would it ever be. There were difficult conversations with their spouses, painful moments of reality crashing in, but Eliza and Sam faced it all together, knowing that their bond deserved the chance to flourish openly. They supported each other through the tumult, celebrating small victories and finding new joy in a relationship that was no longer hidden from the world. As they both navigated the intricacies of their choices and made room for the children who revered them, they also embraced their identities as partners. As the years continued to pass, Eliza and Sam remained a guiding light for each other, a testament to the resilience of love and intimacy. They built a life steeped in friendship, laughter, and honesty, effectively weaving their families together, showing their children what it means to love unconditionally. With every shared experience they created as a blended family, camping trips, family dinners, and celebrations, they reinforced that emotional intimacy wasn't merely about what they had together, it was about how they empowered one another. In the depths of life's storms and sunny days alike, Sam and Eliza embraced their evolved relationship, navigating their past and weaving it into a bright tapestry of joy. They had traversed the complex landscapes of love, committed to ensure that they would not only be a light in one another's lives but also a source of inspiration for their families. Through consistent efforts, their connection allowed them to grow emotionally fluid, committed to learning from their past while crafting new moments filled with love and laughter. The intimacy they shared, both emotional and physical, continued to blossom into even deeper bonds as their lives unfolded. It was a testament to what true love can endure. A portrayal of human resilience and the profound depths of emotional intimacy that shaped their lives. This bond reshaped everything they held dear. Together, they transformed their unspoken love into a resounding declaration of passion and partnership. Ultimately, they understood that while they had once been bound by the uncharted complexities of their connection, they had forged an extraordinary relationship grounded in authenticity, love, and intimacy, a bond that could reach for the stars, forever illuminating the path ahead.